Friends, welcome back to the channel. We are going to etch and seal the gas tank on the 1930 Model A Ford, so let's just get right at it. In the previous video, I showed you what we used to get 99% of the rust out of this gas tank. And we used KBS Coatings Clean, which is part one of the three-step process of cleaning, etching, and sealing the gas tank. Now, if you watched that video before, and I'll throw a link down in the description, you know just how bad this gas tank really was. And so we really had to do some serious work in the previous video. Now, several people have reached out to me and asked me, hey, do I have to take the gas tank out to really just clean the gas tank? Well, the short answer is yep, you do. So even if you're going to just pull the gas tank out to clean it and put it back in, why would you go through all that work, especially on a 1930 or a 31, where it's just a real pain to take the gas tank out? So be one and done, and do it right. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and start tearing into it. Now, I've got a splash apron on. I love wearing shorts, but obviously you can tell I'm in long pants because while this is environmentally biodegradable, it's still an acid. And I just want to be very, very careful with what I do. I've got my PPE as far as I'm going to go, and so I've got my phone over here so that I can keep an eye. The instructions say 30 to 60 minutes at a minimum, and we'll probably pop the top off at about 45 minutes and just kind of see where we're at. I'm really pleased with where we currently are, so I think the etching might be done in as little as 45 minutes, but we'll double check, and if we need to go a little bit longer, we can. Now, the other thing that I want to emphasize is that while we put this in, and everything else is all sealed up, we've got our gas tank lid prepared. It's really important that in this particular step, we are constantly rotating the tank. We don't want any of the sides, the top, the baffles, anything to get dry. And that's very clear in the instructions. So make sure that you're well prepared to be able to continually rotate this gas tank, shake it, agitate it, do whatever it is that you need to do, but set yourself some time before you just drop in the rust blast and then, oh, gee, I got to take a break for lunch, or, oh, gee, I got to take my kid to school, or, oh, gee, the wife is calling me. You really want to be uninterrupted for this step. So, alrighty, let's get at it. We're going to go ahead, add this full strength, 1-to-1 ratio. I've already popped the seal off, so you didn't have to watch me go through all of that. We're going to very carefully just pour this in. It's 1 quart, so we're not going to be adding an awful lot of weight as we pick up the tank and rotate it. Alrighty. Now also, in my previous video, I said that the KBS Clean didn't damage the paint, but this definitely says that it will. So you need to keep the paint protected. So if my first video was misleading, I apologize for that, but you definitely want to protect the paint. All right, we have given this just about a full hour. I'm going to go ahead and drain and recover the rust blast, and very carefully. This is actually a broken valve, drain valve, so I'm very carefully draining this at this juncture. I wasn't sure if it was going to foam up or not, and didn't want to take a chance, and so I am temporarily pouring it in a very clean washed and rinsed jug to temporarily store this. And yeah, that's kind of our plan. Again, remember, there was only a quart in here, and so it was a 1-to-1 or a full strength, not a 1-to-1 ratio like the KBS clean was. And so we're slowly draining it, and yeah. Followed by the draining, it says to wash and rinse this, or rinse it, I should say. Rinse it several times. It's really important at this juncture to stop all of the etching. If it's dry, it'll leave too much of a kind of like a phosphorus coating, and can really hinder the final application. So we want to make sure that once it's all drained out, and it looks like just about is, then we're going to go ahead and follow it up with a good wash. We're going to go ahead and start with the sealing process. All right, so in your kit, they are going to supply you with some rubber gloves, as well as a wooden stick stirrer. Now the instructions will tell you that the product doesn't need to be shaken, and you don't want to shake it. You actually just want to stir it up slowly, kind of pull any of the settlement that might have occurred during storage or shipping. And can't stress this enough, make sure you put on the gloves, because once this gets on your skin, about the only way to get it off before it cures is with acrylic paint thinner. And that goes for anything. So I actually have plastic down below, and I have some acrylic paint thinner just off camera, but very easy for me to access, just in case we get any kind of leakage or we accidentally spill, because once it cures, it'll cure permanently on anything, just about. So you want to make sure that everything that you have is absolutely disposable during this process. So what I've actually done for a funnel is cut a gallon jug of milk, cleaned and washed it, and let it air out for a week. This is actually aired out completely for 7 days now. And we did forced air through here, and we wanted to make sure that it was absolutely dry, because any moisture that's added into this, or any moisture that's around the gas tank, is going to affect the sealing process. So most of you probably just open up a can of paint or a can of anything with a screwdriver, and I have for years, but this is really the way to do it. And you really want to use this, because once you've thoroughly coated the tank, you're going to want to empty the contents into this can. Now there's no saving it. I can't stress that enough, because as soon as it makes contact with the air, it already starts to cure. That's the process. And so we want to make sure that after we've coated the tank, we pour it back into the container and leave the lid off, so that it will cure in the can. And again, it's biodegradable, but still dispose of it according to your local ordinances. So we are still just gently kind of stirring the can. You can't see inside it, but it's kind of silver, blackish, streakish right now as we are thoroughly stirring. And we're going to do this until we don't see any more streaks. All right, at this juncture, I think we've got it mixed up pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and pour this into our gas tank. And I've got a couple of shop towels around the tank in case anything happens to get in there. You want to make sure that you empty the full contents of the tank sealer in there. Once you do, plop that on there like so. I've got my gas cap inside this bag. And then what we're going to do is just gently raise the tank, lower the tank, rotate the tank. We want to get everything flowing onto every aspect. We don't want to agitate this and introduce a lot of air bubbles. So while I have my gloves on, I'm putting these on because it just makes it easier for me to hold the gas tank and not have to worry about it slipping. And so that's what I'll be doing. Next, and I'll be setting this just off to the side onto the plastic. So that it's off the table and I don't have to worry about anything. And again, all we're going to do is just really carefully rotate the tank. Make sure that we're getting it everywhere. And this is obviously going to take some time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but a Model A actually was. And again, just kind of slowly rotating it. Trying to get every aspect of the tank that we can. Definitely want to get into all those crevices. Those weld seams, the baffles. Now it pours, I'd say, with the consistency of maybe like a salad dressing. It's not as thick as maple syrup or honey, but it's definitely not like water. All right, so we have fully slowly rotated this tank for a good 30-35 minutes now. I think we're good to the point to where we can drain. So we're going to go ahead and do that step next. And remember, we're going to go ahead and recover this in the very can that it came in. And that will allow it to fully cure and harden, and then we can dispose of it according to our local ordinances. Okay, so you can see that we are draining what is left inside the tank. That's probably going to take a few minutes. Once we get that out, we will remove the old gas valve and fully clean out those threads and let it finish curing. Okay, friends, we've got our endoscope already hooked up. We're going to go ahead, take a look inside the tank, and just see how things really look. Now, I can tell you, even before showing you the video, just from the light of the tank looking down, man, this looks like a brand new tank. It dries silver, and it really seriously does look like a brand new tank. Wahoo! So I'll show you the video right here, right now.
Now, I apologize in advance for the shaking that you see. I'm holding the phone in one hand while I'm holding the endoscope and moving it around inside the tank at the other. But you can see that nice silver gray look. It looks just like a brand new tank. Now, obviously, during the cleaning and during the etching process, the goal is to remove as much rust as possible and as much loose rust. We don't want to have any rust that's loose inside the tank. So we got all of that out. But on some of the sides of the walls, you'll notice that there might be a little bit of texture still there. And that's the rust that's pretty much impregnated into the metal. The product will encapsulate that, seal it, and prevent it from ever coming loose and rusting again. So again, just a great looking finish that we have inside our tank.
Well, I'm completely impressed. I'll put a link down in this description again for this endoscope. Best 20 bucks you'll ever spend if you really want to see how nasty or how clean you got your tank. Again, special thanks to KBS Coatings for supplying us with all the product and sponsoring us in this video. Hey, keep following us with this huckster build. Give us a like and subscribe, but most of all, y'all be blessed.